Look at this thing I just drew. Wow, that's hot. I didn't know you were into erotica. Yeah, I mean, I dabble. Shouldn't it have nipples though? Oh, let's see. Like that? Oh yeah, that's the one. That's definitely it. Yeah. Um, what's this for anyway? It's the new bat suit. Oh.
That's how you get ants.
Well, this is the episode where I talk shit about Batman, so if you have delicate sensibilities about that sort of thing, this is your one and only warning. The character Batman debuted at the end of March in 1939. Created by artist Bob Kane and writer Bill Finger, the stories featured a rich playboy who used his bat-inspired persona to tackle the equally gimmicky evildoers of the corrupt Gotham City. Every generation has their Batman, the iteration of the character that they consider the real one, the ultimate incarnation of the hero, and no matter which version you think it is, you're wrong if you didn't pick Batman the Animated Series. Seriously, though, there is no true Batman. Every version of the character has legitimacy in the Batman lexicon, if only for the absurdity of it all. It's a guy who dresses up in a batsuit and swings from buildings. There is no version of this that is realistic. I don't care if you're talking Christian Bale or Adam West, Batman could not happen. And it's not a money thing either. There is no world adjacent to reality where Batman could exist. But today's movie takes suspension of disbelief to such extremes that even the least discerning of Batman fans, of which I'm probably one, have a hard time finding much to enjoy about this roller coaster of WTF. And I'm going to try to argue that was, in fact, the point of this film. Today we find anything nice to say about Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin.
George Clooney was a perfect casting choice for Bruce Wayne, especially at the time this movie was made. The real world's most eligible bachelor was set to play the fictional world's most mysterious one. Clooney, like Wayne, was rich and handsome and charming, and yet somehow so commitment-phobic that people wouldn't stop talking about it. Ironically, the most realistic choice was made for the least realistic Batman. The Gotham City of Batman and Robin, the entire world of Batman and Robin, is fictional. And not just in the normal way of most movies. No, the world of Batman and Robin sprang fully formed from the head of Zeus. There is no logic in this universe. Physics are not so much rules as suggestions. Ivy is conducting reptilian and plant hybridization. Freeze is curing diseases and living in a cryosuit because, despite the fact that his blood has been replaced by glycol, he somehow continues to have a beating heart. And yet the police still drive cars from the 40s and use keys that look straight out of a medieval parody. English is spoken almost exclusively in puns and double entendre. In fact, drop your favorite worst pun in the comments. It's like someone saw the cover of Atlas Shrugged and said this, but like all of it. Godlike monuments to who knows what speckle the city. One holds up the city's observatory and, even though there was a huge press conference there, only seems to be reachable by grappling hook. During a chase scene, Freeze and Batman drive their equally unwieldy cars along the literal shoulders of giants. It's a tribute to Rapture 10 years before BioShock came out. There are sewer systems in the sky that lead to bridges to nowhere through which the costumed youths race motorcycles at night. In fact, this entire movie seems to be set against the backdrop of an Ayn Randian dystopia. There are no morals, no moral codes, there are no laws, including laws of science. It is survival of those living off their own genius. Look, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm not really sure what we were expecting from a movie that, within the first 10 seconds, has not one, but two close-ups of our heroes' be-rubbered butts. And, lest we take ourselves too seriously, those things that people harbor the most resentment for in this movie are commented on in the movie. Ivy points out the eroticism of the anatomically correct suit. There's a scene where Freeze is making his hockey team henchmen sing the Snow Miser song. Seriously, what is this movie? I think they wanted to bring back the campiness of the Adam West Batman series. The Tim Burton Batman movies exist in their own surreal universe that is the Burton aesthetic. They're funny, but with a humor tempered by darkness and maybe something a little creepily unsettling. I think Batman and Robin missed the mark, though. Instead of landing in camp, they created something that is genuinely absurdist. The movie begins with the aforementioned butt shots that are part of a suit-up montage that includes not only bat butts, but bat codpieces and bat nipples. Robin's first line is complaining that he doesn't have a car. The two head out to patrol the city and are immediately called to a heist by Mr. Freeze. Batman punches through a skylight and surfs down a brachiosaur model to confront Freeze. Robin shows up a few moments later. They are faced with Freeze's hockey team of goons. All Batman and Robin must do to even the playing field is click their heels together and ice skate blades pop out from the bottom of their boots. Then there's a rocket ship that explodes while Batman and Robin escape by surfing through the air on the doors. Freeze gets away when he freezes Robin, forcing Batman to thaw out his ward. We cut to the creation of Bane, an experiment by a crazy doctor witnessed by Dr. Pamela Isley, played by Uma Thurman. The crazy doctor kills Isley only to have her rise again as Ivy. Happens, Freeze needs diamonds to power his suit, so Batman has Bruce Wayne put up some diamonds at an auction. Ivy crashes the party to go after Bruce Wayne. Freeze crashes the party to go after the diamonds. Ivy uses pheromones to make Bruce and Dick Grayson fall in love with her. They start fighting over her, which brings up the infamous Bat credit card. We discover that Batman is the hero Gotham deserves, but the hero they need is OSHA, as it seems the quickest way to incapacitate someone is to throw them into any nearby open industrial vat. And there are a lot of them. There's a chase scene. They capture Freeze and stick him in prison. Ivy, working with Bane, break him out. Freeze goes after his suit. Ivy goes to save Freeze's wife, but ends up pulling the plug on her cryostasis tank instead. There's a story about how Alfred is sick, and that's why Alicia Silverstone is there, because he's her uncle. He leaves her a compact disc to give to his brother. She hacks into it. And by hacks, I mean guesses the password. That's written on a photo next to the computer. It's Peg, short for Margaret. The password is Peg. The entire catalog of Batman's gear, gadgets, and vehicles are saved on an encrypted CD-ROM with a 3-letter password. Somehow that's worse than the password being password. Freeze outfits the Gotham Observatory to be his giant ice beam, while Ivy lures Robin to her hideout. Robin arrives and gets the kiss of death, only to show he was wearing rubber lips. He listened to Batman after all. No woman can come between family. Except he and Batman are immediately caught in Ivy's vines to be saved by Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl. I know you're wondering, and yes, she did get her own suit-up montage, but it did not include a rubber butt. So she saves them from Ivy's vines, and Ivy gets trapped inside a giant flower. They go after Freeze, who has already started to ice up Gotham. That's it, basically. The rest of the movie is the fight with Freeze. They use a Wayne Enterprises satellite system to thaw out Gotham. The disease Alfred has is the same one that Freeze's wife has, but in a stage that he's already cured, so they get the cure from Freeze when they reveal his wife is not dead. Ivy and Freeze go to Arkham. Alfred is cured. Roll credits. This movie is weird. I mean, especially for a superhero blockbuster. I guess the thing you need to get your head around is just how batshit insane it is. It's bright and flashy, with plenty of opportunity for merchandising, but I wouldn't call it a kid's movie. It's not really a tribute to Adam West-style campy. It's absurdism. We talked a little about absurdism in the Alice in Wonderland episode, and this is the best thing I can compare it to. Batman and Robin goes through the looking glass into a world so surreal that in a movie with Bane, Arnold Schwarzenegger is playing Mr. Freeze. It doesn't make sense. So much so that I think that's the point. The very idea of Batman is absurd no matter how realistic we want to make it, so just enjoy the ride. Every interpretation of Batman is valid. That's all for this episode of Anything Nice to Say. Don't dance with the devil in the pale moonlight, and never be ashamed to like what you like. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to Patreon to subscribe for exclusive content, early releases, and to get your name in the credits. My book, Live Like Legends, is available now wherever books are sold. If you have a movie about which you would like us to find anything nice to say, drop it in the comments.